Alright. Y'all welcome to the stage. Y'all come on the stage for a minute. Y'all come on the stage for a minute. Everybody come on the stage for a minute. Right. This is Diallo-Sekou. You know what I'm saying? He is running for District 8 City Councilman. And we got to put in our votes as a young community and vote. So, you know what I'm saying? We need this kind of power behind us. So we're going to show them a million love and everybody show some respect right now. Y'all give a round of applause for Mr. Diallo-Sekou, District 8 City Council.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you very much. First, I want to appreciate y'all, man, for bringing me out, creating a platform so we can come out and speak on a little consciousness in our community. My name is Diallo-Sekou Seabrooks. I'm running for the City Council District 8. And if you don't know what District 8 is, District 8 is part of the north side. That's Myrtle Avenue, up 55th and Main, cross Dunn, around 295. It's like a horseshoe shape. One important thing I kind of want to express tonight, man, is the power that we have to vote. Even though we think that our vote don't count, but the most important part of politics is the local politics. The local part, the stuff that affects us every day. So if you want to affect change, you got to actually get engaged versus staying at home Facebook and talking about or complaining how things are so effed up.
Yeah.
Anybody agree with me on that?
Yeah, man.
Okay. So we can't talk about, well, let me say this. Even in the era that we're in now, we talk about jobs. There's not a lot of jobs. So if you have a hustle mentality, that means you got to get into the entrepreneur paradigm, meaning you got to do for self. So when there aren't any jobs, you got to create your own jobs. You got to work for yourself. So the same way that we may hustle a certain product, distribute the product, you can do the same thing. Oils, incense, books, cell phones. It's the same thing. It's about ownership and control. To stop the violence thing tonight is ironic. I live off Myrtle Avenue, Myrtle 16. There's a gas station right there with a railroad track. Anybody know where that's at? The Shell gas station?
Yeah.
Constant shootings by the same dudes who live in the same area for years. And JSO think we got gangs. We don't have gangs. I'm gonna let y'all know that. I'm from here. We don't have gangs. Because some of these Negroes can't leave their own block. A gang is a national thing. Somebody from 20th Street is just a street clique. It's a neighborhood thing. What we have to understand is this. There are not a lot of resources that come in our areas because the government officials that we elected in there or we didn't elect basically sold us out. And so the money goes across the other side of town. It don't even hit downtown. It basically goes past down to the south side, Arlington, and continues to go out. Just think about the development that goes on the north side and the development that goes on out south side, the town center, right? So that means either we didn't get engaged enough to force the people that has that budget to put in our side of town, or it's just strictly corrupt. So what I represent the same element that we all come from. I'm from the north side, from Flag Street, 20th Street, Alameda. That's where the whole part I was raised at. That's where I still live in. I moved back here from Atlanta to do what I'm doing now as a contractor. So I want y'all to understand what voting can do locally without sounding like Puffy or P. Diddy. I'm not trying to sell no t-shirts. Everybody in here should have a voter card. If you're not registered to vote, I can get you registered to vote tonight. If you have a felony, I got the thing to get you processed to get your rights back. And I'm pretty sure if we got 10 brothers in here, if we got maybe 3 people that have a felony on their record, it's not an issue. Felony is just a felony. We don't use excuses, man. We continue to just move on. We're not gonna let something that happened in the past stop us from taking care of our families, building up our areas, right?
All right.
So one of the things we talk about violence, how we gonna stop this violence, is this. It boils down to 2 words: ownership and control. If you live on 16th Street and you don't know the people across the street, down the street from you, Meaning you can't have a conversation with them because their music too loud, because you don't know them, you haven't engaged in them, you don't have a conversation with them. We gotta own the businesses in our area. We gotta control the area, meaning having influence over the families, or we have the same like mentality. So when somebody do shoot up something, or somebody does break in something, we know who did it. You understand? That's a community, not a neighborhood. A community, the children can walk 3 and 4 blocks and don't get bothered. They can walk over 2 and 3 blocks and don't get bothered because everybody knows who that baby dad is or who their mom is. So this is the thing we're trying to reissue back in our particular areas, man. We created something called an entertainment commission. We had a lot of shootings last year in the clubs. And Frank Corleone was part of that. The key is always going to be in unions. It's hard for me to do something by myself if I don't have BICO, if I don't have other people who have other organizations or other cliques or other resources so that we can do it together. So in other words, we got together with the club owners, the promoters, the security, and we created a standard form of operating. So how to be able to defeat violence in the club, outside of the club. It's hard to stop violence outside the streets when the streets not unified. You understand? So you create a union, we create a union through the businesses, which you haven't heard of any shootings since last year, since we did it. We're not taking credit for it, but I'm just saying, this is the same way we're gonna help run the government and how we're gonna help push the streets, push the city forward. By creating unions with city council, people that own businesses, people that work for themselves, and the regular people. All 3 of us gotta work together so that we can say we need to bring the resources to the north side that's gonna sustain the north side, meaning it's gonna be there for at least 10 to 15 years that our children can benefit from versus new sidewalks and streets and all the other kind of crap. We need the things that's gonna sustain our families. So when you hear stuff about dredging the city, we tend to think that don't affect us. But when you sitting home eating Captain Crunch and on the PlayStation and the news talking about dredging the water, that creates 22,000 jobs. 22,000 jobs that everybody in here can have. That's a career. I mean, you can retire from that. So when I say get engaged, I mean pick up a newspaper every now and then, watch the news, even though it's not necessarily representing us, but you gotta pay attention. You gotta pay attention to what they are saying, because what they are saying is something you should be paying attention to that's gonna affect you in the long run. Y'all understand what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So tonight, I'm not suited up on like t-shirts. We did a candlelight vigil for Michael Brown, the brother, the 18-year-old that was murdered in Ferguson, and we're gonna head out there on the 1st to kind of go help them because they've been going hard day and night for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So you got soldiers that's tired, you got other people that's coming in. They need to be organized. Let me give you a fact about Ferguson. Ferguson is 23,000 people. It's a suburb of Missouri, of St. Louis. 23,000 people, 70% black. So that means when you go to the school board, the city council, what should they look like?
Black.
They should look like you. 70% black. You got 50 cops. Guess how many cops are black? 3 of them out of 50. Where 70% is dominated, the dominating population is black. What does that mean? That means Negroes don't care. Because all they had to do was go to the ballot. Malcolm said the bullet on the ballot. And we ain't making no bullets. You understand what I'm saying? All you had to do was go to the ballot. You know how many people showed up to their ballot? 5%. Out of 23,000 people, 5% showed up to vote for the local people. So when you got a bunch of Europeans shooting people in the street that look like you deal with oppression, but you deal with partially your fault because you can control that. Simple. Same thing here in Duval. At one point, we was 50-50 when it came to voting, but when they consolidated by bringing in other little townships, they made sure that our vote was always going to be less than 50%. But if your dad has a felony, your mom has a felony, and weren't able to restore their rights back, you as a child got a responsibility to be divorced for them. And then you get your partners, all you gotta do is go and vote. You go vote right now for school board, because if you got children, you wanna vote, you wanna know who the hell you vote for that's gonna be in the school board. I'm involved with the school system. I'm a community activist, I'm not a politician. I'm involved because my children go to school, Johnny Ford. So I deal with Dr. V. I'm on the advisory board at Eugene Butler, where there's a single gender male part and there's a single gender female part, where they'll rock the uniforms, where there'll be a different type of curriculum that deals with our right brain. Because I know what it takes for our children to understand to go into that particular system. So you gotta just stay involved. I don't want to be up here preaching, but I just want to try to get you some information. Get involved, stay involved until the job done. If you ever, anybody watch Boondocks?
Yeah.
That song is a part of the song that I like about, not the part is about staying into the war till the war is won. So we gotta stay into the war till the war is won. So if we got a lot of MCs in the rappers, I understand this. I want y'all to look not only just being about the entertainer, but you gotta be the boss. All right? People think black people own hip hop. Black people never own hip hop. The only time we owned hip hop was when we brought it out of our house, set it on the corner, the DJ, we came out, the cardboard, break dance, captures, graffitiing on the buildings and the trains. That's when we owned it. But the moment we wanted to do business, there was a group of people already who owned record labels. They owned record stores. They own distribution centers. You understand? I'm gonna show you where the power at. That's where the power at. If you can distribute a product throughout the country simultaneously, that's power. People pay you to distribute a product simultaneously. So if you got a hat that says explicit, right, and you wanna move it to Dallas, Chicago, Hong Kong, London, boom. That means you have to have a unit, you have to have several units set up to be able to move that product, right? That's power. But if you just come and put your voice on a piece of vinyl, somebody else has to move that product because you have no engineering ability to move it. So don't just think about being an artist, think about being the boss. It's about ownership and control. It's the only movement that exists right now for us. We gotta own the neighborhoods, we gotta own the community businesses, we gotta stay involved in the school system, we gotta do group or cooperative economics. Without that, we're gonna remain sheltered and just separated. You understand what I'm saying? Thank you for your time. Thank you.
All right.
Y'all go around the applause, Mr. Diallo-Sekou. Anybody want to take pictures with Mr. Diallo-Sekou or find out how to clean yourself up, wash your felonies? He's here right now, so y'all will put him to the side. You know what I'm saying? Talk to him. Mr. Diallo, we got Ear Radio over there, and she want to do a live interview for you. But in the meantime, let's put up the first artist for the